Oh,
sorry about that little bit of
I'm
a
under the
hiccup there,
desk.
guys.
I'm fixing a
Welcome
cord.
to the Breakin Broncos podcast. I am your host, Dan Wetstein. We have lost our host, at least visually, co-host, Dylan Miles, at least visually here for
I'm
a little
currently under the desk.
bit. Yeah, I kind of figured he was currently under the desk there trying to get the camera plugged back in and going. So we're having all kinds of difficulties here. Unfortunately, it looks like Facebook, if any of y'all normally watch on Facebook, that is having issues streaming. I don't know why. I'm going to try
There we go.
and remove. All right. Sorry, guys. I know I'm doing this live, but I wanted to get on here so I could let y'all know we're here. We're here. It's just on Facebook for whatever reason it's not working. So I am trying to get that working. While we're doing that, this is obviously a preview of the Monday Night Football, another primetime matchup where the Broncos have unfortunately played some of their worst football so far this season. They are currently winless in prime time. So
Wait, not true. They won the Sunday night game against San Francisco.
oh, that is true. I apologize, y'all. They won one game. It was ugly as it all get out.
It was a win. It didn't look like a win.
A win is a win. Yes, it is.
Technically counted.
With that being the only win and one that is so bad we want to forget about it, is this where Russ finally cooks and at least makes the Broncos respectable on prime time?
You know, I want to say no, but this is the true time. I believe yes, just because of the amount of time they've had off from going from a Thursday night game to the next Monday night game. You know, you have more than 10 days to prepare for this. Sure, injuries are racking up, but you got returns, which that'll get to soon. But I do think this is probably the night where he comes out of his shell, not completely, but enough to where we see the potential. We're going to start to see him break through the shell tonight.
Yeah, I definitely do believe that Russ will be better. I do attribute a lot of what's happened over the last 2 weeks to that injury, because when you look at up until that second quarter against the Raiders, you couldn't blame Russ. It really wasn't Russ's fault. The multiple fumbles at the goal line, he had the one bad interception against Seattle, but other than that, he had played really, really well up until that second quarter. And then it was after that second quarter on into the Thursday night football game where he really, really started to stink up the place and started making the mistakes, because he was seeing things that when he's healthy, he could fit it in those windows. He could, he could punch it in there because he had enough power. Well, when you have a partially torn labrum in your throwing shoulder, you're going to lose at least a couple of miles per hour off of your fastball. And that's what's allowed.
And your release is going to be way different.
Yeah, the release is going to be different. Accuracy is going to be bad. All of those things that we were wondering about. Okay, first off, you have the timing issues, which we'll get into in real depth here later on, of how this offense works and how important timing is. But you already had those issues to deal with, where he wasn't quite on time with his receivers in that. Then you add in the fact that he can't throw it as far, as accurate, or as hard as he normally can. And things are just going to compound and snowball the way that they did, again, after the second quarter on into the end into the Thursday night football game against the Colts.
And you could see
that makes so much more sense.
You could see the difference, in the Vegas game, not so much. You could see he was hiding it well until that second half, like you said. And then Thursday night is when I noticed it the most. It was, whichever, it was early in the game where he got sacked twice on one of the drives. You could really start to see that start to decline down the rest of the game against the Colts. Just the throwing and then him not even wanting to take it because of that shoulder when they get hit. There was a lot of
Yes.
of
There was
things
a
due to
couple of
that shoulder.
times that there was read options that if he would have kept it, he could have gained massive yardage, but it seemed like he was definitely hesitant to run. He was always looking downfield. Now, I will say he did have his best rushing game of the year against the Indianapolis Colts, is when and you saw how much that livened up the offense. So I do want him to protect himself, but you still have to be able to use that mobility, especially now that you don't have the timing with your receivers, because if they're not open or you don't see them when they were open, depending upon what the situation is,
It's a bit
you've got to be able to do something with your legs, especially if you're a Russell Wilson.
And just watching, you can tell it was both.
Yeah.
But, those weeks you're behind. 2 and 3 is where they were sitting back in 2012, exactly 10 years ago today. 2 and 3 is where they sitting before. Who did they meet on Sunday night in 2012?
Exactly. I mean, this is setting up for Russ to do a lot of things in the whole progress of the way that Peyton did. And again, just real quick, we're not going to go too far into this. Remember what offense Peyton Manning was learning when he came to Denver and why it took 5 to 6, maybe 7 weeks for him to really get his feet underneath of him. But besides Russ finally cooking, what do the Broncos need to do to secure victory tonight?
For me, is stopping Justin Herbert and that Chargers offense. They did look a little down last week. They definitely looked a little down against the Jaguars. Or was that their game last week? That was their game last week, right?
Last week, shoot, I can't actually remember.
I think it was Jaguars, if I'm wrong, but that offense is starting to catch stride again. But I think the biggest problem, I think one of the weakest points that the Broncos need to find tonight. That was the Browns game.
The Browns yesterday and the Texans.
And they pulled off that victory. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And it was
but that offense was coming alive. But you saw their flaws in defense where they're supposed to be one of their strongest on the team. That point is the defensive line. They were not penetrating that line against the Browns mostly late into that game. They got lucky at the end of the game that no, it's I just forget his name. Why am I thinking Tyrod Taylor?
I'm sorry.
The quarterback for the Browns. The backup for
Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett. There we go. I was thinking Tyrod Taylor for some reason.
Similar.
He was there a while ago.
Yeah, he was.
But they got lucky break with Jacoby Brissett throwing that interception in the end zone. The Browns had the game won. And that shows you that Chargers defense can't last 4 quarters. They're strong in the first half. Third quarter, defensively, they're all right. And they start to fall off. And that's where you're going to see the Broncos probably stride in the offense is the second half tonight. Defense, I mean, we don't have to worry about the defense. They're going to be all over the place from the first snap.
Yeah. The only time the Chargers defense has looked good, it was against the Raiders, where they gave up against the Raiders.
Yeah, week 1.
19 points. Yeah. That's the least points that they've given up all year is 19 points. And 19 points to the Raiders, 27 points to the Chiefs, which is okay. 38 points to the Jaguars, 24 points to the Texans, and then 28 points to Jacoby Brissett and the Browns. So obviously that defense is nowhere near as good as people thought. I mean, yes, obviously they're missing Joey Bosa. They're missing one of their cornerbacks. Last I knew, Derwin James was banged up a bit. So they've obviously had some injury issues.
I mean, this year, I think we're getting back to a league high.
And they're giving up less than 13 points a game. They're giving up just over 175 yards passing per game.
And there's something about Justin Herbert.
Sorry. You can blame injuries all that you want, but in the NFL, there's 100% chance of injury, and the next man has to be up. So as much as you want to blame injuries and all of that, you have to take all of that with a grain of salt and realize that in the NFL, it doesn't matter. You have to keep pushing, especially if you have an offense that is as talented as this is, as the LA Chargers are with Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler. So for me, the key is going to be the offense scoring points. This is
Mhm.
probably the most porous defense they've faced outside of maybe the Texans. But even the Texans, I think, might have a little bit better defense.
The
than
Texans,
the Chargers do.
I mean, just see, but like, it's always weird to talk about the Texans because they're always bottom of the league, but they always just have these guys. They always have these special guys that come out from nowhere,
Yeah,
But then you look
Pierce.
at the Chargers team; it's a team full of names everybody knows,
Yes.
and the same could be said for the Broncos offense, right? It's the battle of the weak points so far for both teams this season.
Yeah, something's got to give, and that's why I'm going to say it's going to take Melvin Gordon having a 100-yard rushing game, because every running back that has faced the LA Chargers so far has gone for at least 100 yards.
I expect to have Mike Boone have a big game tonight too.
Yes, that's going to be another thing, and we'll get to that when we get into injuries,
Mm-hmm.
because there may be a little bit twist there. So the running game has to get, I would say as a team, they need at least 150 yards rushing, and Russ has to go for at least 250 passing
they could,
for this offense to really click and for them to win. So, like you said, it's going to be obviously the defense does need to shut down Herbert and them to keep them off the board.
And that's going to be pretty.
Offense has to score touchdowns. This is, again, Justin Herbert and company. Field goals are not going to get it done. But speaking of that, can the Denver D continue the domination against Herbert and company, as we're saying? And can they control like an Austin Eckler, who has had over 400 total yards and like 5 touchdowns in the last 2 games?
I think they can, with DJ Jones up front, who has been just nothing but amazing to have on that defensive line. You lose Shelby Harrison the trade, and you essentially sign his replacement, DJ Jones, who is, if not as good, probably just a bit better, I think, at being right up there in the middle, stopping the run. He's been fantastic. We watched him do it on Thursday, although it was against 2 backup running backs against the Colts. He had a pretty good night. They held that Colts running core to a little bit under 100 yards, I think. They were having a great night last week on Thursday defensively.
Oh, finally. Sorry. I just got us on Facebook. Sorry. I've been sitting here working this whole time, and I finally got us on Facebook.
But the key, my point is the key of the night is defense for me. I mean, Justin Simmons is back tonight. I mean, always great to have back, even though we haven't really missed his presence with Caden Stearns taking over.
2 interceptions against Indy, yes.
And we're going to see, is Justin Simmons getting the start, or is Caden getting the start?
Caden's out. Last I knew, Caden was hurt. Oh, no, it just broke. What the? So
but I mean, even though you lose one safety and bring back the other all-pro safety,
yeah,
you're not missing much tonight. Darby is a bit of a hurt. That does hurt a bit on the defensive side, but Michael Ojemudia is coming back. He should be playing tonight.
I got the injury list. Let me pull it up here. Here, these are the injuries right now. So the ones that are out are Josie Jewell and Caden Stearns. We have Cooper, Gordon, Damari Mathis, Dalton Reisner, Eric Sauber, and Billy Turner as questionable. So is Quinn Miners questionable. But we will have Mike Boone, full participant. Baron Browning, big.
That's big. That's big.
PJ Locke will be there to back up Justin Simmons. Simmons will be getting the start. As I'm looking at, they have confirmed that through Ian Rappaport, he has confirmed that Justin Simmons will start tonight. So we have that. Latavius Murray will be there just in case Melvin Gordon can't go. We get Aaron Patrick back, another outside linebacker and pass rusher. Darius Phillips, who I honestly can tell you I did not know he was on the roster still.
I totally forgot Darius Phillips was on the roster.
Yeah, that will be big considering we just lost Ronald Darby last week.
And then you got Michael Ojemudie's back, which is just amazing.
Yes, Michael Ojemudie and Kawan Williams was a full participant on Saturday.
And those are the 2 key players, I think.
Yeah, so those 2 big players,
For the injury list, not of the game. Oh, God, no, not the game.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. And here's the Chargers, just so we can get full. Keenan Allen is doubtful. That's huge if he's out. Yeah. That leaves just Mike Williams, who, again, he's been balling. He has over 200 yards receiving, or almost 300 yards receiving, and 3 touchdowns over the last 2 weeks. So only having to worry about Mike Williams with just letting PS2 chase him around the field. I think he's enough, especially with having Kawan Williams on the other side
I mean,
and a
and then
Michael O.J.
him.
Mudia back to go ahead and take over the rest. So but this list is quite light. I mean, this doesn't include the IR. Just to be completely clear, this doesn't include the IR for the Chargers. This is especially important because that includes a Joey Bosa. So this does not include IR. This is just people that are either doubtful, questionable, or were on the list for whatever reason. It could even be for just a
people who are, these are players not on IR. That's all we need to say.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I just want to make sure it's clear.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no, definitely.
We do have a comment. If the Broncos pull out a win tonight, will it be because of the defense or offense? And I think we've been pretty clear. I think it's going to be because of the defense.
Yep.
Yeah,
I expect the PS2 to have a pretty good game tonight, especially if Keenan Allen's out, which honestly we should be knowing if he's out here pretty soon. Game's about an hour away.
Right. And I do see this came from YouTube. I appreciate you going over to YouTube and seeing this. Again, for anybody that is watching, or if you want to spread the news, for some reason, StreamYard is broken with Facebook. I've been trying to fix. I had us on there for like 3 seconds, and then it broke. So I'm sorry. I know a lot of our viewers and comments come a lot from
Meta's
Facebook.
fault.
So if you could let the Facebook people know, I'm sorry. We're trying, but right now Facebook's broke. I've tried both the Facebook page.
Oh, that's weird.
My personal Facebook. So
I wonder if it's just down for a day, maybe servicing.
Yeah, I don't know. It says that they're having trouble streaming to Facebook and the issues on Facebook's end. So it's something to do with
so it's Zuck's fault. Gotcha.
It's not StreamYard's fault. It's Facebook's fault. So whatever the case may be, I don't know what it is.
Do they still okay? I know this is off topic, but is it at Meta or is it Facebook still?
I mean, I don't know. It says Facebook, so we're just gonna go with Facebook. That's what it says on the error. So
because somebody got mad at me. I don't. This was
I know. I've deleted myself. I've deleted the post like 4 or 5 times off of Facebook because it's not streaming at all. It's just a black screen, and when people hit the play button, it just says sorry, we're having trouble playing this video. Is what's going on. I don't know what it is or why it is, but I've been trying this entire stream for now 20 minutes. Trying to get it on Facebook, but it's
you'd think that this man has one of the greatest minds and great at developing, especially social media platforming, and he can't just fix a live streaming service.
I know, right?
He's got a whole team
to do it, and screw you, Zuckerberg. You're messing with my views. No, I'm just kidding.
Unless it's Jesse Eisenberg playing him in Social Network, then I'm okay.
Right. So as far as we just showed you the injury list, showing you that reinforcements are on the way.
I think there's
how big, obviously it's big, but how big is Justin Simmons' return to this defense?
You want to say that again? My headphones turned off. Sorry. We're having all sorts of problems.
How big? Because we obviously know it's big, but how big is Justin Simmons' return to this defense?
Pretty big. I'm not saying it's the biggest key of the game tonight, but it's big because if they decided they were going to limit him one more week after coming off of IR, which most people, sometimes that's the case, especially coming off of IR, even if you are looking good, they give you that one more week of practice. But with Caden Stearns out, Justin Simmons has to start. Kareem Jackson, Kareem Jackson won't even be playing that position. Who would be behind Stearns?
PJ Locke, who is
PJ Locke.
Play,
yeah. Okay. Is he's playing?
Yeah, he was a full participant all week.
I didn't read his. I didn't see his name.
Yeah.
He was a full participant all week. With Josie Jewell out, that's not a big one. That's not a good one, but I do like that being in the hands of Singletary, seeing what he's been able to do. I do trust Singletary behind there,
isn't it?
Oh yeah, Singleton. Yeah, it's Monday.
It is, brother. It's close, and we just got. I mean, I know that you watched.
I'm thinking Mike Singletary for some reason.
Yeah, Devin Singletary of the Bills. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean Singleton. I mean, I don't think he's gonna be. He'll probably be number 1 this season, but I like the way he's progressed since week 1, since those 3 flags week 1 to none the rest of the season, being out on that field hitting hard. I mean, dude, the man hits just as hard. Probably, if not harder than Josie Jewell, but he just doesn't have the rest of the fundamentals down like Josie does.
Yeah, he's a little bit more limited. Like him and Josie are almost clones of each other.
I saw him for the first time. I go, did he switch numbers?
Yeah, right. They're the cerebral middle linebacker that they don't win on athleticism like, say, a CJ Mosley or a Fred Warner. They win by pre-diagnosing the play before it ever gets started.
That's like who's this reminding me? That's a DeMarcus Ware type, except out on the edge. Yeah. DeMarcus Ware did a lot of those similar things. And actually, I should compare somebody in the
middle
league.
Linebacker that I could use this on. Oh, the kid that lasted a whole year in San Francisco. Was it Mosley?
Was it Mosley? Goodness. I want to say it was Mosley.
No, it started with a B. He came out of Ohio State. 49er linebacker that retired too early.
Oh, dude. Okay, I know who you're talking about. I don't remember his name, but he was a beast.
Borland.
Chris Borland.
Yes. I think that is the perfect comp for a Josie Jewell.
I forgot about Borland.
Yeah.
That's a name.
Like I said, he only lasted a year in the NFL, and he was a Pro Bowler.
And he was a Pro Bowler.
He replaced Patrick Willis. He was the guy that replaced Patrick Willis after Willis retired early. One
of the craziest stories probably in the NFL.
Dude, one of the craziest events of middle linebackers I've ever seen. Patrick Willis.
Or a cornerback retiring mid-game for the Bills.
Right.
At halftime.
I mean, I guess we did get to see Antonio Brown give up on a team in the middle of a game. So who knows what we could see anymore with
but it's funnier if you just don't come out onto the field and someone goes, "Where is he?" And you go, "He retired."
Right. That is pretty great. We have seen some very interesting things. Especially lately in the NFL, things that you thought you would never see. But I guess that's this generation, man. They're just here to bring craziness in every way that they can.
And it's ESPN tonight too. We can listen to good commentary.
Yeah.
I
will definitely be watching the Manning cast. For those of you that don't know, if you're living under a rock, you don't have to watch the original, the old school broadcast where you got two broadcasters up in the booth talking about the Monday night game. There is the Manning cast that's on ESPN2. You get to watch the same game. It's just instead of listening to Troy Aikman or whatever talk about the game, you get to listen to Peyton and Eli Manning make fun of each other. Plus the guests that they usually have some great guests. They always have old players from other teams. Like normally with the Broncos, they bring in like a Terrell Davis, a Shannon Sharp, players like that. So it's always fun. If you don't know what it is, check it out. You'll have a blast.
I usually watch the normal broadcast when it comes to games. That's just my preference, mainly because I call games.
I get it. I like
it. But I always watch the Manning. I watch the highlight, like the 30-minute video they post after. I always watch that. But when it comes to the game, I just go, it just gets me too distracted.
I got you. Now, me personally, tonight, because it's the Broncos, because I want to see how Manning reacts, I gotta watch the Manning cast. That's the only reason. Normally, if it's any other team, I'm watching the normal broadcast because it's just like you. This is what we do. I do it not just because I enjoy it, but I like to learn from it too.
If I had a football team that could win games that I call for, that'd be great. Volleyball team's good though.
Hey, there you go. At least you got one good team.
Right?
You can't win them all.
Oh no, that volleyball team's defending state champs.
So, speaking of reinforcements on the way, the next big one, we've already talked about Simmons. We've already talked about OJ Mudia. What about the rookie, Greg Dulcich?
The hair's back. We get to see the hair.
Not only transform the look of the offense, as in the hair, but actually the way this offense works.
Okay. I've been waiting to talk about this because we've been waiting a while. I think I brought this up to you right after week 1, week 2, where I was noticing, they've been utilizing the tight ends a lot. In those early weeks, they utilized the tight ends with Russ a lot. I was going, if you could get Greg Dulcich in the mix there, as just a receiving tight end, nothing else, I feel like he could change it. But now that we see that they shifted away from the tight ends and we just have all these tight ends just sitting on the roster doing nothing, basically, I'm not sure what to expect from Dulcich tonight. I want to see, because I still think Alberto is probably the better option right now until I can see what he does. I expect to see him out there tonight, catch some balls, but I don't see him being a super big impact on the game.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything confirming that he's going to be starting.
He's not going to start. He's going to start.
Saubert's the one that's going to start.
Saubert
he has become the number one tight end
I don't like that.
I know you don't because of who you got on your fantasy team, but the reality is,
Dude,
Eric
okay,
Saubert
they had a
been,
bye this week. Waller would be on. They have a bye. The only reason Darren Waller's not starting is because the Raiders have a bye. And I need. Oh, well, I've already won guaranteed. Because he doesn't nobody had nobody to play tonight. But I was gonna say, now that's good because Justin Herbert can just play like trash and I'll be okay.
Right, you'll be all right. You ain't gotta worry about nothing.
I've already won.
Yeah, Greg Dulcich has the ability to take this offense to another level. It's just a matter of whether or not he has earned the trust of the coaching staff and the offensive personnel on how much he will be able to make an impact tonight. Tonight,
did I clarify that?
I do not believe that he's going to make an impact, but, and I'll say this because there's a person that's in this room right now, well, not technically, but you know what I mean, that needs to listen to this. If you have Albert O as your tight end on your fantasy team, you need to go snatch Greg Dulcich because it's not going to be long before Greg Dulcich takes over the starter snaps and takes this team to another level. Eric Saubert has been good. Dulcich could be great. And the staff loves him. And the most important thing is the guy that makes the personnel decisions is the one that decided to draft him, loves him. And he was the training camp darling. This is the guy that everybody was raving about throughout the entire offseason.
Are you still talking about Dulcich, dude? My headphones just cut out again.
Yeah, posted your YouTube channel link. Right. I appreciate that. That helps out a lot.
So the yeah, like I don't know if I made my point clear when I was talking about Dulcich. He definitely has potential to change the offense, right? And for the better. I just don't see it tonight.
Yeah, definitely not tonight. Yes, correct.
I just don't think I worded it right. I wanted to say that.
No, I don't think you really went wrong, but the clarification definitely helps. I'm sure there's people out there that might have had some other thoughts, but hey, we got it cleared up, and here we go. So
cut him. We already signed him to this 3-year contract. Cut him.
Speaking of getting this back on track, one of our favorite sports writers and sportscasters around, Jeff Legwold.
We've had the pleasure of meeting.
Yes, we have had the pleasure of meeting that I still talk to from time to time. I know I like to just throw that little bit of a flex out there because it's kind of cool. But beyond that, beyond just giving you the little biases that we might have on the guy, if you look in the description, there is a link to an article he just wrote called Russell Wilson, Not First QB to Struggle in Denver Broncos Scheme. Why? We're going to give you the quotes from some of the people that you would consider the greatest of all time. So,
and I did have time to read this while we were getting started when we went down. So it was a lovely read.
Yes, very good read, and gives you the insider's view of what we've been preaching since week 1. We have told you this offense is extremely complicated. It is very intense, and everybody has to be on the same page. Not just the wide receiver and the quarterback. This takes all 11 players across the board.
But send this to my dad. He was talking trash about this the other day.
Nice. So here is John Elway when asked about this offense. He says, I even came into it my first year in the scheme, having been exposed to some of the components of it at Stanford a little bit, and when I was with Jim Fossil, when Wade Phillips was the Broncos' head coach. Elway said, I felt like I had a certain background, but the timing of it, the precision of it, there is an adjustment in it for everybody in the offense, not just the quarterback. That exists in everything you do, no matter what offense you're in, but in the version of this scheme we ran, those initial games, it really stuck to me how much of an adjustment it was for all 11 guys.
Sorry, somebody's in here. It's just off for a minute.
You're all right. You're all right.
What I wanted to say was, yeah, definitely. I every point there I agree with, and I just wish so many people could see that because you can. When I read comments, and I read them if I want to get mad, and
that's a good way.
And I was looking at some of it, and you can tell who the casual fans are between who the diehard fans are who pay attention to the team, just by comments, by saying. And, all the people saying Russ was the worst, casual fans. The more knowledgeable fans who are actually paying attention in depth to what's going on at practice, what's going on in the injury report, and people who just I watch all the Broncos content on their channel with Phil Milani. He's great. I big fan
I love
of
Phil
his.
Milani.
Phil Milani's amazing.
Eric Delilah. Yes.
Yeah, all those guys are great on the Broncos media team. And you just reading comments, you can tell, and I've said stuff like this. You can see who's getting better each week by week, and you can see who's getting worse week by week, and you can go from there. You can improve on that, and they've definitely been improving on lots of things. This week taking that hit to the line is pretty hard. I mean,
Yes.
Russ has looked, although he hasn't looked better each week, you can tell he's starting to fit into that system a lot more, and he's starting to look better. Like we saw in that Indy game, moments where he could shine if the play calling's right and if the whole team was on one page.
And I think this quote completely supports your argument you just made there. As a quarterback, you have to work your progressions, and as the receivers, you have to maintain your timing, that you're open right at the point in the progression, not before, not after. So,
and that's such a great point to make. I'm glad that's in there because that's where people who were dogging on the team saying we need to wipe everything,
or the
stupid comments.
Fourth down. That this is the quote that's the reason why I wanted to bring up this.
Dude, I was so happy when KJ spoke out about that.
Yes,
because you could tell he cared, and Russ talked about it, saying, why would you get mad at that? That's somebody who had the play to win, and I made the mistake.
Yeah, he showed he cared.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the reason why Russ didn't see him is that wasn't the part of the progression he was supposed to be at. He got open too early. So,
and you could tell, look where his body's pointing.
Yeah,
that play wasn't designed to go that way.
No. And the point is like, for all the pundits that wanted to be there and like, oh, he was open for that's not the way this offense works. You have to go through your progressions. Did Wilson maybe stare down his receiver a little bit too long?
Maybe.
You can make that assumption from the outside, but until you're in the room with them and you knew exactly how that play was supposed to be run, how he was supposed to look through his progressions, and who's to say if you actually look at that play objectively, it looks like at the end of the play, he saw KJ open because of the way he threw the ball, but it was Sutton that ran in front of KJ and then brought the defender with him. So
that's what I'm so happy about. You noticed that too.
Wilson and ask him about that play. I'm not going to assume that he just completely missed an open guy.
Mm-hmm. See, and I'm glad you talked about that because I didn't get a chance to talk to you about it last week. Obviously, because I forgot what time we were going at again, the new time.
Okay.
But that's something I did want to talk about. And I'm glad you brought it up because that's exactly the point I wanted to make. Word for word, what you said is basically what I wanted to say.
Nice. I'm glad we can agree and conjecture. Here's the next quote. This is from another quarterback. First two were from Elway.
My favorite quarterback, personally.
Yep. Dylan's favorite quarterback, Jake Plummer, who came in and had a similar issue under Mike Shanahan that Elway did. He said, all of a sudden, then offensive coordinator Gary Kubiak and Mike Shanahan are walking me through all the different footwork combinations on play action, out of a 3-step drop, out of a 5-step drop, according to each look, Plummer said. And you're learning it, thinking this is crazy. And when it hits you, when you get that comfort level, you just see what it all can do.
And dude, why did I think of this?
Moment.
I can't believe I didn't think of this before. I always talk about the 2012 Peyton Manning struggles, but we rarely talk about the 2015 Super Bowl 50 offensive struggles. It's the exact same thing. Gary Kubiak comes in head coach, brand new offense. And a lot of people dog on that offense for being bad.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, if you have the greatest quarterback of all time in there, probably arguably the greatest regular season quarterback of all time, struggling in a new system like any quarterback would.
Yep.
And the reason why that offense never clicked, obviously Peyton gets hurt, Brock has to come in. Guys get used to Brock until Peyton comes back. That offense struggled all season under a new system, and then just swapping back and forth from those guys didn't help. And that it's very similar to this season, except for we're not swapping back between Brett Rippon and Russell Wilson. It's still just Russ. But like I said, is besides the 2 years in between 2012 and 15, Peyton did not have good years. Okay, 2012, he did have a pretty good year. They went on an 11-game win streak after that
Yeah,
Monday night
and
game.
2013 was the 50 touchdowns.
I'm saying besides those 2 seasons
Yeah.
in between, the
Yeah.
2012 and 15 season were messes for most of the season.
Yeah, when he was learning the new offenses, once they clicked, everything was great. But again, it's getting to that clicking moment. And how do you get timing down? Repetitions. What did the Broncos not do in the preseason? They didn't get any reps. But this is why I say I hate the injury thing. The injuries are what they are. The Broncos were a whole lot more injured during Vic Fangio when he would beat them over the head during training camp than they are now. The problem lies in an intricate offense with no repetitions for the starters, so they're not on time. And it takes time. Look at Matt LaFleur in the Green Bay Packers.
Exactly.
When Matt LaFleur came to Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers has not taken a snap in the preseason since Matt LaFleur's been there. And they were absolutely terrible. Did y'all realize that in the first year of Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers had 9 games where he had 1 or 0 touchdowns. 9. That's more than half the season.
And that is
and they ended up 13-3. And what did he do the next 2 years? 21 and 20 and 21. He won the MVP back-to-back years.
And went to 3 straight NFC title or 2 straight NFC title games.
Exactly. And won back-to-back MVPs in those years. And
that man's an animal. I
almost went to another one.
Think about what you want of him outside of the game, off the field. But on the field, that man, I respect the hell out of that man. That man is a football player.
You can have your personal opinion.
But you can tell this year, you know what I love? Is all those Green Bay fans who were saying Hackett wasn't doing anything in this town. Like on that offense. It was all Aaron Rodgers. As soon as he leaves, you've just seen how bad that offense has been since LaFleur and Rodgers lost Hackett.
Right. And Plummer answers the question, well, why would you go through all these growing pains? Here it is. Why? Why go through it, Plummer has said? Because it's the best thing going when it's going. Why do you think that Mike Shanahan's coaching tree is so huge? Why do you think that
it's arguably one of the biggest coaching trees out there?
Yes, Andy Reid, Mike Shanahan, the 2 biggest coaching trees out there.
Mike Holmgren. I would even add Mike Holmgren in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to go all the way back to Mike Holmgren, then you can put that in there. And then you'd have to go back to Bill Walsh at that point too.
You'd have to go back to everybody.
That's
like
why
these
I'm not
trees
trying to go too far back because that's back behind where most people are.
I mean, if you're talking about Mike Shanahan, that's around the same time Holmgren's in Green Bay.
Yeah, true. But like this offense takes time. Or you want to point that out? Look at the first year with Holmgren and Favre.
Dude, they hated each other for like the first 6 weeks.
Like we can keep. This is not new, people.
And
Why are people acting like it's new, like they don't understand what Russ is going through when we have example after example after example.
And you know what I think's going on behind the scenes? I don't think we're getting all the scoop behind the scenes. Before George Payton got here,
the injury until he went and got a shot.
Dude, before George Payton got here, everything was getting released. Yes. And people are just saying that like Hackett and Russ, like you see them talk and like they're nice to each other. That's definitely not the case behind the scenes. There's definitely constructive criticism. There's probably been a few back and forths, which is good for them.
Dude, Hackett does it the way you're supposed to.
You put on the facade.
Private, you praise in public.
Exactly.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
And Vic Fangio was the exact opposite. You praise behind the scenes, dog on them in the media.
Well, unless it was one of his coaches. They were the only ones off limit. He'd throw any player, any executive.
Dude, that week he threw Jason's under the bus, dude. That's when I was done with him.
You better leave off his boy Pat Shurmur.
Dude, that week when he threw Justin Simmons under the bus for that dropped interception was my boiling point with that man.
Yes. Yeah, that was the end. I was just like, man, and that had to be the end of his locker room. Like, how do you get your locker room?
That was the leader of the locker room last year.
Best player under the bus.
And like before Russell Wilson came in here, Russell Wilson's obviously the leader of this team, whether you like it or not. Him and Justin Simmons are probably both taking the reign, but before that, this was Jason's team. Before they traded Vaughn.
Yep.
Even before they traded Vaughn, this was Justin Simmons' team.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that's another thing that I think is a boon, something we haven't talked about yet when it comes to losing Josie Jewell, is that instead of having to pass it off to Alex Singleton, who's only been in this, on this team for a short period of time. They can give the headset to a Justin Simmons who has called plays in the past.
Singletary got the
lined up. And just let Singletary play like he did against Indianapolis in that.
If I'm not wrong, Singletary did get the...
Or Singleton. Did I call him Singletary? Damn it.
We've both been doing it.
I know, right?
I mean, with Singleton, he did get the green dot. He did get the green dot in week 1 against Seattle.
Yes.
Which I, in my opinion, I think was a bit of why the struggles were going on early for the defense in week 1. That could have been because, probably communication. Yeah. I'm not saying it was all Singleton's fault. It was just probably communication. Yeah. And then you get the next week and you have Josie Jewell back. That defense was back on a roll. I think it was just communication-wise. And since then, even Singletary stepped up, man. Like, I'm a fan of his. Like, he keeps playing as he's been playing. I'll probably buy his jersey. Like, if he keeps playing. Okay, if he keeps playing, like, the past 2 weeks, the rate he's played, I think he scored in the past 2 games. Been
talked about enough. He plays on special teams, too.
Mm-hmm.
All the units.
You know who he reminds me of? It was when I was watching Hard Knocks, Rodrigo from Detroit.
That's not bad.
That middle linebacker that they have down there that they just signed really reminds me of him with the build and the weight and just play style.
Yeah. I love the nastiness he played with. A little time. Sometimes he might go a little bit overboard.
He may go a little bit
and get those personal foul penalties, but at the same time, it's like we used to talk about with Romanowski and guys like that. You love that kind of thing when it's on your team, and as long as he's not doing it in the crucial moments.
Yeah.
Like, if he's doing it in the first quarter, trying to set the tone,
never.
Cool. But if it's in the 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter, and you're trying to preserve a lead, then no, that's not okay.
You never saw Bill Romanowski, even roided up and roid rage as he was. You never saw him lose a game by getting too hot.
Yes, and that's why you loved him, is that he never cost the team a game.
He may spit in the guy's face in San Francisco, but...
Right. But in Denver, he did it right. So hopefully Singleton, you can calm down a little bit here and there. You don't want to take away his edge.
And I mean, obviously, he's got to be excited.
Right.
I would be too.
You don't want to take away his edge. You don't want to, beat on him a little too much, but, take it down just like maybe a quarter of a notch, not a full notch, not a half a notch, but about a quarter of a notch, and you're perfect in goal.
Baron Browning being in this game this week is the difference maker for me on the defense. Not as much as Justin Simmons.
Go off.
Oh, he's got to be pissed that he missed the rest of that game after hurting his wrist.
Oh man, and I mean, over a shoulder injury and all. Yeah, he was dominating.
Dude, he was great. Dude, like I don't care.
Oh my God, he was
how bad that Indianapolis Colts line was.
Bro,
I don't think I've ever seen a team let that many pass rushers through before.
He owned, Chubb was great, but
that's just so nice.
Level, like he made Quentin Nelson look bad. The best guard in football, he made him look like a rookie.
I love Quentin Nelson too. So you're just like, dude, that guy, like a guy who I love to watch play football,
and he's the third string. Think about that.
And that's what's nice. With Randy Greger out, I'm not really missing Randy Greger right now because I know
as long as
his spot is going to be back. Like his spot's going to be there when he comes back.
Showed some things when he was.
I'm excited to see Nick Bonito out there. We heard so much about him and haven't seen anything. If he
learns how to be average against the run, he can be special. He doesn't have to be great. He doesn't have
Where was he against Josh Jacobs?
Right.
Why is he only good against the Broncos?
He was inactive against the Raiders. Benito
that's right. But with Nick Bonito, like we've heard so much about him. Yeah, and we just barely saw him. And we finally got that taste.
It's all because he has chicken legs. Like I don't say that to be mean or funny. I know,
but it's true.
Funny.
It's true.
It's the truth. Like his upper body is stacked, but he's got these little chicken legs, so he can't keep.
And you know who that was? That was Vaughn's rookie season.
Yeah, he had a lot of trouble anchoring the run. Like Vaughn went off with the pass rushing his rookie season, but if you look at his rush D. It was bad. It was really bad.
And then you saw him come back next year with the quads of a grown man.
Right. Yeah. It's just he just got to get in the weight room more. You just got to do some extra squats.
But definitely he shows so much potential in the run game.
Oh my goodness.
His pass rush was still unbelievable to watch. As a rookie, his get off is very similar to Vaughn. I would say Vaughn.
I'll say it. I'll say it with my whole chest.
But I think an even better get off was DeMarcus Ware in his prime. with the Cowboys.
Yeah,
That's what I saw.
Oof. His get off is insane.
Dude, did you see his get off that sack on Mahomes yesterday?
Who's that?
Vaughn's.
Oh yes,
dude.
yeah.
That one where he didn't even touch the lineman.
About?
They didn't even touch each other. Yeah, where he just.
Bro, yes, he was so like, and that's the beauty of Vaughn. And I'm saying that Benito, he's got that type of get off. He's got that get off where it looks like he's offside. Like he'll have just like Vaughn gets all the time. He'll get offsides penalties when he's not actually offsides,
right?
Because he's actually that fast.
There was to the point I was gonna make was with Randy Gregory out, you don't have to miss him. He's got his spot. Like they're gonna take care of him while he's gone. And even if like Nick Benito, if they decide that they want to shut Baron Browning down on the other side, Bradley Chubb's gonna have free reign. But that usually is the opposite. They want to shut Bradley Chubb down.
There's still Jonathan Cooper on this roster.
And they're still exactly.
Dude, this Jonathan, kid that was the darling last year has become an afterthought this year.
Who arguably was our favorite player on the defense last year.
I love Jonathan Cooper.
Jonathan Cooper was an animal.
Potential in the world.
But Baron Browning
being a 6th round pick, like he is way outplaying his draft position.
Oh, definitely. And I expect to see Jonathan Cooper have a pretty good night tonight.
Yes, he's probably going to get more snaps than normal, definitely. And that's why I'm like we were talking about Benito, but really the guys that are going to replace Gregory up front to begin with is going to be Baron Browning and Jonathan Cooper. They're the ones that are going to eat up most of the snaps because again, Benito cannot. He just can't. He can't anchor in the run game. He can't set the edge. Now on passing downs, you'll see Benito here and there. And there's even packages they have to put all 4 pass rushers out there at once. So you'll probably see a little bit of that.
And you know what I've been seeing lately? Actually, what I've been enjoying seeing lately is how the front office has been around the team. With the new ownership and all, George Payton is a man I will praise forever for what he did for this team. Even though the results aren't here yet, this man is probably one of the best GMs of Broncos history so far.
He's
one of the as a start from the start.
He's definitely working his way
and
up.
What I love seeing him
constantly climbing the ladder every year. There's been no fall.
Yeah.
So yes.
What I love seeing him, he acts like the owner when he's out on that field. When you see him in the booth, he's the owner of the team. Say what you want. This man built this team
for the team he built. Yes, 100% agree.
This man built this team, and I love seeing the Walton Penner group at every game. You're supposed to do that as an owner, but I love seeing that they're not just in the booth, that they go down to the locker room after every game. The whole group does.
Yes.
And
they're creating a family.
Bob Walton, right?
Yeah, Rob Walton.
And it's Penner, George Penner.
I believe his name is George.
I want to say George, but Penner.
He's the son-in-law, so I don't really care.
But Penner is taking majority of Bob Walton is the owner, but he's like running everything.
The day-to-day. Yeah,
I like Penner. I like every time he talks, it's precise. He doesn't hesitate, and he says everything right. And I
he's a trained businessman. Yes.
Yep, and that's what it takes to be in this league.
Yes.
And what I like seeing is how he's able to communicate with the players too. Not just the front office. He's actually down talking to the players like a good owner would. Pat Bowlen every day when Greek was still with the team as the head trainer, would go into the training room every day and ask about every player that he came and saw, and went and talked to each of the players personally after reading the list.
Yes.
I heard something similar where Penner did the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly believe
I am happy with this
Pat
group.
Bowlen left an owner's manual and that they read it and they took every single word to heart.
You have to. There's no way you can't.
Now I'm being a bit facetious for y'all that might take me seriously. No, there's no real owner's manual. I'm just being a little bit facetious there. But moving on to
seeing it's monkey see, monkey do. That's the best way I guess I could put that. They're seeing what one of the I'm gonna say the greatest owner probably in NFL probably ever.
I mean, you're not going to get any argument here. There's a lot of bias and orange and.
If you say Jerry Jones, you're a dumbass. I don't care.
I hate you already. Yes.
Yeah. If
I
you say
agree.
Jerry Jones, you have no room to talk here. Go back to Dallas.
Yes.
But
if you say
know,
Jerry Jones,
just,
I hate you. So
you take over that team, though. Sorry, I'm almost done. You take over this team, and you see what Pat Bowlen did, and you try to do the same things and more.
Yes.
Like they're doing more than just what Pat Bowlen would do.
Just keep the train on the tracks, bro. That's all we're trying to say. So speaking of, ownership, moving on, predictions, biggest key to Broncos victory tonight.
Defense. Defense is my biggest key. It's staying in the game, stopping Justin Herbert, and stopping an Austin Eckler, who has been probably having one of his best seasons since his injury. Arguably, even though they've not been off to the hottest start, I think one of his better starts to a season since he tore. Was it his ACL?
I'm sorry, who are we talking about now?
Eckler.
Oh, Eckler. Yeah, he tore his. Yeah, the last injury he had was a tore ACL.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. And since his ACL, I think this is one of the best starts to a season he's had. I don't expect him to slow down tonight, so that's where the key point for me is defense, but the key point on the defense is D-line. But the other side of the thing is the offense does have to play well. That's all I'll leave it at.
Yeah, my key to victory is Justin Simmons and PS2. If they can slow down Herbert in the passing game, I have no worries about this rush D. The rush D outside of the Josh Jacobs debacle has been absolutely monstrous.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the issue with Josh Jacobs was the fact that DJ Jones had an issue with his pec and his bicep, so he wasn't able to be as forceful in that
Dalton
game.
Reisner and Quinn Miners will play tonight.
Boom. Okay, run game's going off tonight. If Quinn Miners is in there, they are going to run it down the Chargers' throats, which is
I'm checking the Chargers
strategy.
page on Keenan Allen.
That's going to be my number one key. Feed the running backs the rock. There should be no less than 35 rush attempts tonight between Mike Boone and Melvin Gordon, or if it's just Mike Boone and Latavius Murray, whichever.
The inactive list just came out for the Chargers. The inactive list for the Chargers just came out.
Okay.
It goes Christian Covington, Richard Rodgers, Corey Lindsey, Isaiah Spiller, JT Woods, Easton Stick, and Keenan Allen. So no Keenan Allen tonight.
Oh, they want 5 keys to victory.
5 keys to victory. Keenan Allen being out. Justin Simmons back. Russ has to play good. Defense pops off. Pat Surtain.
Boom. I like those. Running game. Somebody other than Courtland Sutton has to go off for the receivers.
I think it's going to be Jerry.
Nice. I think KJ, but we'll see.
Oh, yeah. We haven't seen KJ that much, but I'm going to stick with Jerry.
I think he's only played like 3%.
And then besides that bomb of a catch that he caught.
Right. That 55-yarder where he ended up at the 1. I think he's played like 3% of the snaps or some stupid low.
But he's back now. We know he's back fully, and that's always
he's going to be in
the
slot. And I think, with Russell's arm injury, there's going to be a lot of short, quick passes in this.
And you expect to see KJ take off, dude.
Yeah,
that's where he's good at.
A whole bunch of runs, a whole bunch of play action, whole bunch of bootleg. So the offense getting the running game going. Somebody other, like I said, probably KJ Hamler in my book, Jerry Jeudy to Dylan there. Then the Quinn Miners and Dalton Reisner getting back to their road grading ways. Number 4 would be the defensive line stopping the run. Like I said earlier in this podcast, Eckler has over 400 total yards from scrimmage and 5 touchdowns in the last 2 games. They have to hold him to under 100 yards rushing and less than 2 touchdowns. If they can do that, the offense can keep up. And then for the 5th one, I'll have to, Justin Simmons and PS2. Them 2 going off and holding Mike Williams to under 100 yards would be my 5 keys to victory.
I like those.
Thanks. And the biggest worry of defeat to me would be, it would go back to those 5 keys, is saying that if Austin Eckler and Mike Williams keep going off, then this will be an ugly rout by the LA Chargers.
As I say, the nice thing is Keenan Allen out. So that means you can spread PS2 across to Mike Williams. And then sure, they have a few other receivers. I always forget their names. I don't pay too attention to the Chargers. I just like Justin Herbert. Is they're not number one receivers. These are guys deep on the depth chart.
Yeah, no.
Besides
After you get
Mike
past
Williams,
Mike Williams, there's really nothing.
Yeah, but once you and if PS2 is able to shut him down, which I think he is more than capable of,
this is
seeing the way he's been
was drafted for.
Yep, this is the guy he was drafted for, and Tyreek too, probably Mike Williams and Tyreek,
because Mike Williams is that big body.
Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying.
6'3", 230, and runs a 4.4. So
no, I totally misunderstood what you meant. No, definitely Mike Williams definitely drafted for that. Mike Williams drafted for that. PS2 drafted for Mike Williams.
What you meant, brother.
Yeah,
we know what you meant.
Arguably, I think he's the best cornerback in the league. That's just my opinion. There are other great corners out there. You can say what you want. But year two, this man, the things he's done.
Smith Sr. said that PS2 is the best cornerback.
Richard Sherman, Steve Smith, Champ Bailey, John Lynch.
What else do you need?
I can keep naming names that I've seen on Twitter. Peyton Manning, Eli Manning.
It just keeps going.
Pat McAfee's even talked about him.
At this point, it is not just us.
Julius Slay.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah. I don't remember the cornerback they have on the Pat McAfee show every week. I always forget his name. He was a former Colt. I like when they have him on there because he breaks down film. Yeah, and he broke down 30 minutes straight. What?
You're talking about the former Indianapolis Colts?
Yep.
Yeah. Man.
But he's great. I love when they have him on
because
he breaks down film, and he broke down 20 minutes straight of PS2 film saying why he's the best corner in the league. And, just being able to watch that.
Yes. That is 100%. Yes. That is what we are hoping for as well. If they just keep cooking tonight, that way they can shut everybody up. We've talked about this is the same situation Peyton Manning was in back in 2012.
And he had a 21-point
it was the Chargers on Monday night, the 24-point comeback in the second half that turned everything around. Now, we don't want to have to go through another 24.
Yeah, I might. I'll probably have an aneurysm if that happens tonight.
I'm having an aneurysm, a heart attack.
I almost had an aneurysm during the Colts game. That's just how pissed I was.
We're only a few minutes away from kickoff, though, so I want to get in our final predictions real quick before we got to go because we know y'all are going to leave and watch the game as soon as it starts.
Because we're not important when they play.
Yeah, we're not. No, why would we be? We're not. I'm not important to myself.
You're important to me.
I feel so loved. All right, so real quick, final prediction score, Dylan.
Let's see. My camera's working. There we go. I'm never gonna buy a new one, and I keep saying I need to buy a new one, and I just get mad at myself every time.
Well,
I think I want to say the Broncos do pull away with this game. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think it's gonna be pretty close. Is that offense? The offense for the Chargers is definitely going to hit its stride the longer we get into the game. So the earlier you score on the offense, the earlier you score, the better the Broncos have. So I think the Broncos win this game 24-21.
That's not a bad score prediction. I like that one, just keeping it close. I am of the same belief that it will be a close game. I do believe that the offense comes up because I do believe Russ not getting the pain-killing shot was the difference in the Indianapolis Colts game.
He didn't want to get Tyrod Taylor pulled.
Yeah. So I do believe that him getting the shot will be the difference. And I am going to concur with the wife. Broncos 20, Chargers 17. The Broncos are able to pull it out and end their 8-game road losing streak to the AFC West. I want to see that streak end tonight because I think it will do wonders for the morale and the attitude in the Denver's locker room and will go a long way to shutting up all of these ridiculous
so-called fans.
Yeah, for Russell Wilson. So,
you can tell all the fans that are trashing the team are the ones that don't live in Denver.
Right. 100%.
Or not even Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
Because I don't live in Denver and I don't want to put myself with them.
Right. I was like, at least that covers me.
I did live in Denver. I lived in Denver.
I lived there once.
I lived there for about 2 years.
All right. But we have officially hit an hour. We are only moments away from Monday Night Kickoff, so we can find out exactly how right or how wrong we were. And y'all can let us know about it in the comments. We would love to hear your perspective. And I will be on Twitter. I don't know about Dylan. He might join me on there.
I might be on
throughout the
Twitter.
game.
Week 1 was enough for me. I think I posted my my enough posts for the year. So
He
who
says,
knows?
I got my yearly post.
I got my yearly 5 posts in.
All right.
And they were not
well,
retweets because those count.
On Twitter. So y'all want to join me over there for the game.
One more
I will
thing.
Be live tweeting whenever something crazy happens. It is right there. Let me go ahead and get this off so you can see. There we go. Now you can see it's right there. At _, the answer is 42. Check out Dylan Miles, even though he doesn't like to tweet.
There's a chance if I usually tweet when I get pissed.
Yeah, he just angry tweets.
If I'm happy,
he sends mean tweets for Jimmy Kimmel to have.
Most of them I save for our conversations when I text you.
That's always
so.
Good.
That's usually why they don't get posted because I probably get flagged.
He's like, I don't want to get banned. Yeah. I don't want to get banned.
One more thing, Austin, welcome to 3 and 3 with me, baby.
Sorry, what?
That's who I beat this week was Austin.
Oh.
I already won. He has nobody else to play, and I only have Justin Herbert.
I have guaranteed wins in both, but I still have people to play, so they're going to get even uglier. So sorry, Santiago. Dylan knows what this feels like. He knows
that was bullshit. Like. I'm sorry for language, but it was bullshit, dude. I had that shit won.
Bro, I got 56 points on
I was
Monday
ahead
night.
by 45.
Yes. He had me by 45.
You texted me, dude. I was heated. Points. I was like, I'm not replying to you.
Like, yep. He's so angry he wouldn't even reply to my text. But so Santiago, sorry, brother. This is what happens. But
was he ahead on you pretty big?
Sorry, go ahead.
Was he ahead on you pretty big?
No, I've been whooping him the whole time. It's been pretty bad.
See, at least I had a lead.
Yeah, you had a lead. I had like a 13% chance of winning.
That hasn't been the case the week before that, dude. Yep. Before that, dude, the past 2 weeks before, I started off 2-0. I was looking hot.
I've had some bad luck, dude. Freaking between Rashad Penny, Javonte Williams, Jonathan Taylor, it's been bad.
See, we're in the same boat.
We can't get off onto a big tangent. We got to let people go. We got to get out of here. So for the Breakin Broncos podcast, I am your host, Dan Weststein. That's Dylan Miles, my co-host. For the answer is 42. You know what it is. Don't question the blue.